We've done this before. In season 1 of Debates Arena, we focus on sports, a topic that brings together many Ghanaian youth. But as we draw closer to the December general elections, the future of Ghana hangs in the balance. And it's been said that the voices that would matter the most would be the young, vibrant, and passionate Ghanaians who would cast their votes. So this season of Debates Arena, we are bringing together courageous and informed youth to debate the critical issues that will define Ghana's next chapter. Now, our debaters aren't just arguing for points. They are fighting for their affiliated parties, and they will try to tell you why you should vote for those respective parties. This season, it's more than just a debate. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that you have the power to determine Ghana's next leader and shape its destiny. Join the conversation, engage with the issues, and make your voice heard on social with the hashtag DebateArenaPE.
Hi, I am very excited to have connected with you on this platform. What I do is I work in marketing, communications, basically advertising, branding, and then strategy. I'm very, very excited about that. I'm also very excited. I'm passionate about young people. I'm passionate about developing the skills, the capacity, and the competence of young people. There's a lot of data that suggests that the future of our country and the future of the African continent largely depends on young people. So I'm very passionate about young people. And that is why, for me, I'm very excited about this conversation that we're going to be having today.
Okay, so I'm also passionate about young people. And throughout my career, my main target is to work and create jobs for the youth, because I realize that we all come out from university chasing for jobs that do not exist. And to solve the unemployment issues, which is not only Ghana, but the whole of Africa, then the youth have to work, or they have to be creative. And through that, I'm so passionate about sustainability, including jobs. Jobs must be sustainable, unlike the kind of jobs that we have currently, just within few months, and then you lose it. So I'm looking at creating sustainable jobs. And with this climate change, new jobs are being created in that sector. And that's why I'm looking at having houses that will not use much energy.
Government initiatives focused on youth development in Ghana are insufficient in addressing the root causes of youth unemployment. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree that we have enough or sufficient policies and effective policies to address the root cause of unemployment in Ghana. In the sense that, of course, we know that youth unemployment continues to rise. And if you look at statistics, about 12% of youth are unemployed. And even there are questions about that figure, because those who normally put the figures down, some of them are backed by World Bank. But of course, World Bank get the figures from government. So there are issues about transparency and then accountability when it comes to those numbers. And we all know that there's youth unemployment in the country, and a number of people are searching for jobs. And that's why I speak for the motion that the policies are not sufficient to address the root cause of unemployment. Now, these are some of the reasons. There are limited and irregular government funding for the projects. So if you look at projects like NAPCO, if you look at projects like NEP, that is a National Entrepreneurship and then Innovation Program, you see that a number of people were recruited into the sector. And when the project was rolled out, of course, they couldn't employ all the people who wanted the program. Though, if you look at the amount, the stipend, 700 Ghana cedis per month, which we know it falls under what we call underemployed. Right. And a number of people wanted the program, but they couldn't get. But even those who had no enough funding to the extent that their allowances were not paid for a number of months, and they struggle, they have to demonstrate for their allowances to be paid. So there's no enough money. And then if you look at the NEP, one of the areas is the Kaya empowerment program. And then another destination is the presidential page. And we also have employment for programs for restoration, which is basically for the prison sector, to train inmates. All those are not sufficient in the sense that the amount of money given to startups, 10,000 Ghana cedis, maximum you can get to be 10,000 Ghana cedis. And with that amount of money, we're just talking, and we talk about, for you to get a viable business that can grow to bring employment, you need to do what we call market research. And of course, you also need to do what we call marketing. And all of that involves money. And with that amount of money, the youth are not able to grow their business. They'll start all right. And I always say that if you meet any young guy from the university, I can say that majority of them have business plan. So we are looking at the workability. So I'm looking at programs like proper training. We should have like entrepreneurship right from the basic level. It should be taught. We can replace some of the subjects with entrepreneurship. Because, for instance, during my training, I realized that there's something we call affordable loss principle. So you can just start. If I want to sell a particular product, I can bring, for instance, in the restaurant industry, I can bring food to someone here. And then if the person enjoys the food, next time I bring 2 plates. And then through that, you grow the business. These are policies that government should put in place, since they will not be able to provide enough funding for the startup to grow their businesses. So we also have limited focus on pre-employment services. Pre-employment services. People come out from the university, they don't even know what to do. Or they even go to the university without knowing what they are going to do. They should be taught right from the beginning, just like we have in other countries. So if you go to UK, right from basic school, you know what you want to become. And you take courses that will prepare you towards that. Ghana, you study general courses, 8, you write 8 subjects. In UK, I taught a number of students there, and usually 3 subjects for senior high, which they call A levels, that you are going to study, because right from the basic, you know what you want to go into. So you focus on that. So for instance, someone like me who is interested in entrepreneurship, if I had started that from basic level, then secondary school, first degree, second degree, I would have been better off. So government should rather channel funds or like training for that sector, and then maybe career services, counseling, which is not going to cost much since we know that money is not enough, instead of trying to bring programs like NAPCO, then a youth in agriculture program, youth leadership and skills training, which is actually one of the things that I'm agitating for, and then rural enterprise program. All of those are not enough to address that issue, that people are prepared, they come out, they don't know what they want to do. Now, another reason is the lack of monitoring and evaluation system. So normally, government bring these policies based on manifesto. What I propose is, we should keep them. If you propose a policy, tell us what are your key performance indicators. What should be success? We should what would be the success? Not that they just come and then they throw it out. Till now, the NAPCO, they come out with figures. Maybe we employed this number of people, and then we created 2.1 million jobs. Where are the jobs? Are they sustainable? Because over 50% of those who are employed, those who are even employed, they are underemployed. And I was just checking data, and if you look at those who live below the poverty line, you should earn $2.15 to be within that. If you earn below that, and if you take that money, it means all the people who were employed under all the programs that I mentioned, they were underemployed, and they live within the poverty line. We don't call that employment. So those are there should be proper monetary system to make sure that they achieve the aims, or we can verify the numbers. So we are talking about funding, which is not enough. And if funding is not enough, then you should channel the energy to other sectors like training, educational reforms, so that you can have entrepreneurship right from the beginning to address unemployment issues. There should be proper monitoring and evaluation. Independent bodies can do that, or manifestos should be clear about what is actually a success if you bring a policy. And I think if all that is put in place, then at the end, it will help to address the youth in unemployment. Aside that, all that we have is not enough and it's not also effective.
I agree largely that government policies towards addressing issues of youth employment in Ghana is not adequate or it's not sufficient. Why do I say that? I think that if you come to our part of the world, when it comes to the conversation around youth unemployment and youth development, we haven't been very deliberate about it as a country and as a people. We have always taken a knee-jerk reaction. Whatever we have done is reactionary. And going forward, we need to be very proactive than reactive. Now, data from the Ghana Statistical Service suggests that as at end of Q3 2023, youth unemployment in Ghana stood at 14.7%. Now, let's go back to what government data said. This is way back 2020, and this has been captured by Peace FM Online. It's also being captured by Pulse Ghana. And government said, as part of a government achievement, 60 achievements that government says that it's been able to accomplish. And now I'll just mention a few of them. Government says that under NAPCO, and I appreciate the fact that my colleague here mentioned NAPCO. Government says under NAPCO, it has employed 100,000 young people. So if as at 2020, under NAPCO, we have employed, we've employed, 100,000. Sorry, NAPCO, government said that 100,000. So if as at 2020, under NAPCO, we have employed 100,000 young people, then why should we be having a conversation about an unemployment rate of 14.7% Q3 2023? Then, of course, government says that as part of achievement, and this is way back 2020, government says that under 1D, 1F, one district, one factory, over 58 factories out of the 181 under the 1D, 1F initiatives have been completed and operationalized. So we shouldn't be talking about an unemployment rate. We should actually have more people in employment. Then government also says that under the recruitment of teachers, it had employed 8,872 teachers. So we shouldn't be, as a country, we shouldn't be talking about the issues of unemployment if the policies that governments over the years have put in place have actually solved the subject matter of unemployment. Then we shouldn't be talking about. So that is why I go to say that when it comes to the conversation of unemployment and youth development as a country and as a people, we haven't been very deliberate about that. We have left it, and it has always become a conversation about MPP, NDC. MPP says that when we were in power, or when you were in power, you did this, you did that, you did that. When we have done A, B, and C. You see, there's a proverb that says that when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. The blame game, MPP, NDC, it is the people of Ghana, it is the young people of Ghana who are feeling the heat of it. And maybe I'll take maybe the last one. When it comes to employment of security personnel, government in 2020 said that it has recruited over 12,000 security personnel. Where are the jobs? So we shouldn't be talking about an unemployment rate of 14.7% in 2023. So we need the political parties to tell us, give us the mechanics to reducing the unemployment rate from 14% to like 0. And I like the fact that you also mentioned about when it comes, we've not been deliberate in creating sustainable jobs. We've created reactionary jobs, and those jobs have not really solved the unemployment problems. So I think that going forward as a country, we need to be very deliberate. Let's watch some of these things and do them very well. You spoke about your experience in the UK, where you had an experience to teach a number of students, and you mentioned the number of subjects. So, example, if you show interest in entrepreneurship, that is what the school system or the system puts you through. What do you think make their system better than our system, or what do we think we can learn in their system to be able to implement in our part of? Because I'm saying this because most of our leaders, they went to school in the best parts of wherever. They actually went to top schools in the UK, America, and then Europe. So why is it difficult for some of the nice things they see outside? Why are we not able to implement it? Okay. Why do you think we are not able to implement it?
From my experience in the UK system, and not only UK, I'm kind of like international teacher. So I tutor students from Singapore, China, and then other areas. So the UK system, before I went to the UK, I usually think that we copy our education system from the UK. And then also to realize the US education system, then I realized that what we are doing is totally different. So for instance, and I know why UK or the developed countries, their entrepreneurship is strong and they're able to create businesses. Why? Because someone who is studying science, I study science, general science, and then I'm engineer too. You take chemistry, economics, and then geography as someone who wants to study engineering.
Right.
That's how their system is. Now, why is that important? Because if you study economics and then you have engineering background, then you're able to put what you study, like your engineering skills and all the inventions and other things into practice using your economics knowledge. But here in Ghana, we just have science students. When someone is science student, so for instance, in Ghana, I studied biology, chemistry, physics, and then elective maths. Nothing about economics. So you have the ideas, but you don't know that there's something like demand and supply. There's something like market research. Right. You need to do marketing and all of that, or you need to write a business plan. No idea. So how do you translate those ideas into business? Right. And that's something that we are lacking in our education system. The fact that our courses are isolated. We don't even understand ourselves. So for someone who study economics, you study economics, you know all the policy, you know all the principles. But what idea are you going to work on? Because you don't have science background. You don't know that when you mix this chemical, you are going to come out with something. And that is the difference. And also I spoke about the number of subjects. And the fact that
it's problematic.
Yes. Because like I said, UK, if you're doing A-level, 3. Now, with the 3, a subject like physics, you go into details. And I tell you, for their basic level, they are doing calculus, they are doing matrices. And some of those things, I started learning them when I was doing engineering at the university.
Wow.
So you realize that we did not copy the proper thing. And that is what it's actually the root cause. We have to change our educational system.
So is that to say that we've done a lot of copy and paste and we have overcopied?
Or we didn't know what to copy.
We didn't know what to copy.
Yes. I say that because you have US system, you have UK system, Canadian system. So what I think Africans try to do is, this person goes to maybe Nanado study in UK, the vice president study in US. So they all bring that together and then they form something, and that's the major issue. So we copy from different lessons without understanding the actual lesson.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. One of your points, you mentioned that under the 1D, 1F,
yes,
a number of factories were established.
Yes.
Yet we have youth unemployment or unemployment issues in Ghana. I don't know whether you try to check the number of people that each factory can probably employ, and also the youth, whether the skills that they have, they fit into that. And if the skills fit into that, how about the pay? is it something that someone with high skill, like engineering background or design, can go and work in those factories? Or it's just something that you work and then they give you 500 Ghana cedis? For instance, special eyes, if you go to work there to count the money or to count the number of bags that they leave, do you really need university education to do that?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that we lack in this country. We don't provide a lot of detail. So governments in trying to trumpet their achievements, which they say that 60 achievements, and government says that what, under 1D1F, there are 58 factories out of 181 under the 1D1F initiative, which have been completed and operationalized. But government hasn't even given us the breakdown. So, okay, out of the 58 which have been completed and operationalized, these are the various skills of people that have been brought in. These are the respective roles they are playing within these businesses, and this is the average salary. I think that when it comes to, and it also goes back to the point when I said that as a country, we have not been deliberate in our development. And because we have not been deliberate in our development, it had a trickle-down effect. And that is, and based on even what you just said, it is showing in everything we do, from whatever policy, whether it's youth employment policy, or whatsoever. It is showing that when we just come in through the numbers as Ghanaians, we have created X number of jobs. We don't provide the details. And going forward as young people, there's a need to say, Gabin, you say you've created X number of jobs. Give us the breakdown. I think that, look, and you remember recently what happened in Kenya when the president and cabinet had sent a certain bill to parliament, and the people of Kenya has asked the president to withdraw. President says no. Young people had besieged their parliament, and the aftermath, we have seen it. Later on, the president of Kenya then organizes a town hall meeting with the young people, and they express their frustration. We're not saying that young people should take to the streets. No, we do not want to see what happened in Kenya to happen in Ghana. But we think that when government is throwing numbers at us, when they are throwing the research, please government, give us detailed breakdown. Tell us the mechanics. Tell us, and when you are bringing these policies, tell us what success looks like. What should it be? Give us projections. And that is what we have failed to do in this country.
I totally agree. And with a Kenya issue, so recently the president was jubilating because he was able to strike a deal where he can send 120,000 people to Germany.
Right.
And that is something that I would not like to happen to Ghana, because we need people to develop our country.
Right.
Why would you train people and then sell them out to go and develop another country?
Right.
I came back to Ghana because I realized that when we get the brains, we have to stay here and then develop our country, because we have resources more than UK.
Yes.
UK have basically nothing. And in fact, the whole of Europe, if you look at it in terms of natural resources, they have less than 7% in most of the natural resources. So why would they be the ones to be developed, and all of us who want to go there? And now, it's not just about natural resources. Now, human capital or resources, they don't have. Their population is aged. We have it. So we expect people to rather be coming to Africa, not us making conditions conducive for people to rather leave Ghana. So we need to create the jobs here for people to stay and develop our country, have our own houses, live there, and then we will not have racism and other issues.
For me, the saddest part of one of the things you have just said is the fact that we have a lot of young people who are trying to leave Ghana to Europe, America, to seek for greener pastures. So because they say that there are no jobs here, there are no opportunities here. But you have the Chinese who are coming into Ghana every day. So what is it that the young people in Ghana are not seeing? But someone seated in China is able to spot opportunity and say, look, there's an opportunity in Ghana, let's come and exploit it. I think that it's a conversation that as young people, we need to have those conversations, amongst ourselves.
The reason why Chinese will come here and succeed, the Indians will come here, the Lebanese and all other national, is just the fact that in their country, they're able to access funds. So they have interest rate below 5%. In Ghana, you are talking about over 30% interest rate.
Yeah.
And not only that, as a startup, because when you go to the bank for a loan, they ask for collateral. And that's not the only thing. There's something we call information asymmetry.
Right.
When what I know, the bank doesn't know it, or what the bank expects me to, I'm not also aware. So I'm not able to put on like a strong proposal for the bank to understand and give me the funds. And I think one of the areas that government can help, instead of just throwing out money, because I was just looking at most of the programs, and if you look at the amount of money that goes into the organizational structure, I mean, the number of people who will be paid in that, like NAPCO and all the other decisions, is something that they can just use to give startups soft loans. So, for instance, tell the banks that when entrepreneur comes for a loan, giving the loan, if he fails to pay it, government will come in. Don't let the entrepreneurs know. So it's only those who will not be able to pay it, then government will use that money to pay the bank. In that case, banks will be willing to give out money to entrepreneurs. But if you just start a program and then you give me 10,000, because I started with sustainable irrigation, even drilling one borehole and mechanizing it, it's more than 10,000 Ghana cedis. So how would that money do for me? It can't do anything. And even after that, how many people can you employ? You can't employ more than 5 people. So how would that solve an employment issue? I need to get funds from the banks and then extend. So for instance, if you have like 100 boreholes, then you can see the number of this. But how will I get that? I'm just a startup. And in the first place, whether my business plan is even viable or bankable, because I don't have knowledge in entrepreneurship. Until recently that I took the MBA. And then banks will not give you the loan because you don't have collateral. But those countries, interest rate very, very low. They even encourage people to go in for loans. So that's the difference.
Right, so I think that going forward, and this is to conclude, going forward as a country and as a people, like I've said before, let's be deliberate in our development. Elections are coming the next 2 months, 3 months. Let's hold our leaders accountable. You want to represent the people of Ghana. You want to represent our interests. You want to represent our resources. Tell us how you're going to do. Let's go beyond the manifestos. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the statistics. Give us the projections. So that if you come back and say, oh, you've met A, B, and C KPIs, there are benchmarks that we can go and say that this was the projected target. This is what you said you were going to do. These are the numbers. And if you have achieved, so that we can do a comparative analysis. I think that as a country and as young people, to be able to develop, to be able to move beyond the regular bread and butter issues, these are some of the things I think that we need to start doing as a people and as a country.